Okay, are we ready to do some budgeting? Doesn't everybody love a budget? If you love money, you've got to learn to love budgets. I know, it's not really fun, and I want you to take a step back before we get started. And if, when I say stuff like, I love money and money loves me, if that causes any sort of a shame reaction or a gut reaction where you're like, ooh, stop talking about money, you're making me uncomfortable, I want you to go back and do some other work on the money mindset module. Do the previous money mindset again, check out some of the extra resources that I gave you there, and make sure that you're feeling good about money before you go into this. You also need to make sure that you've done the work around knowing who your ideal client is in the previous modules. At this point, you should have a really good idea of who your ideal client is, what their problems are. If you've been doing the exercises all along, this should not be an issue. Okay, but I want you to have all of that in mind when you're moving forward and doing in this money, because it's going to factor into how you set those rates and whether you second guess yourself or sell yourself short. All right, so we want to make sure that you're feeling good about money today when you're doing this exercise, you're feeling good about what you do, and you're feeling like you know your client, particularly before the next lesson. This lesson here is really more about facts and figures, and we're just going to be putting dollar amounts basically to your existing expenses. So the first exercise in this Dreamlining workshop, there's 3 worksheets within the Google Doc that you're going to download. You're going to create a copy of it or download it as an XLS. There's 3 different worksheets. And the first one you're going to do is just your basic, this is what I absolutely have to earn every month just to get by. And I want you to be, optimistic and include everything. But this is survival mode. This is not like any luxuries. This is, what do I need to eat? If I had to eat ramen every day, what would my absolute base necessity be? Now, I'm not saying you're going to stay in that budget forever, but we want to know what your true expenses are without any of the fluff, without any of the stuff that we love to pad our budget. That's the first piece. And then the second piece you're going to do is the thrive. And that's what you really want. That's kind of it's not your dream budget, but that's kind of your day-to-day right now. So if you're in a corporate job right now and you've got a salary and you're fairly content with it, or you want to make a little bit more, it's that. Like, what are you going to do with that? For me, it's weekly or monthly massages and regular lattes. I love to eat out. I prefer to eat out than cook. Or like when I was at home, I like to have the blue ribbon boxes delivered, and that was like $50 for a week, and that was like 6 meals or something. But it was a luxury, right? I could do that for a lot less if I did it myself in survival mode, but that's what I would prefer in my lifestyle. So that's what the thrive is. That's where you really want to be, and that's what you want to aspire to. By the end of your first year in business, your goal is to be making that consistently. And you may be able to do it a lot sooner depending on your experience level and your skills, but that is our goal. So we're going to set the baseline there. And then the last piece is the fun piece. And again, this is about getting you to think about the possibility of the future, getting you to think outside of the box, and realizing that maybe some of the things that you were told were out of your reach are maybe not out of your reach. And so in the last piece of the dream, you're going to look back at all the work that you did earlier on when you were creating your ideal life. And, you wrote down that you wanted to have a $10 million home on an island or whatever it is. You're going to put that in your worksheet and look at what it would actually take to run it. I've included some resources here. If you want to check out Tim Ferris, this all is kind of loosely based off of his Dreamlining workshop. That was the first place that I did it. I've done it with another couple of authors and coaches, different books and stuff with various takes, and I've kind of just scaled it back to what I think is really essential for creating your baseline for your lifestyle. And the reason that we're really doing this is just that. It's just a baseline, so we know that when you set your rates, we can evaluate them against what you actually need to live, what you want to live, and where you want to be, and then you can adjust accordingly, right? Because there's nothing worse than starting a business and saying, oh, I'm going to charge $100 an hour, and then you realize a month in, there's no way you can actually pay your bills at that rate. Who wants to do that? We're going to do this the right way and make sure that we're designing rates that serve both your clients and your preferences, your needs, and your desires. So get to it.